So here we are going to revise transformation of sentences. Transformation which you will be getting for 5 marks. 5 sentences will be there. And here I have taken all sentences from the previous papers, 2015 to 2019, right? So these are about 55 sentences that we are going to discuss today. And while doing these sentences, I'll tell you about the rules also that we have to follow. Okay. Look at the first sentence. All nooks and corners were checked. So here you have to begin it with no. It's an affirmative sentence which you are changing into negative. So most of the time we always use opposites when we change affirmative into negative, right? So it will be like no nook and corner was left unchecked. No nook and corner was left unchecked. Okay. He is so old that he cannot remember events of the past. Now, from this sentence, you have done it in class 10 too. The sentence is with so that, and you have been given adverb to. So that is always changed into adverb to too. So he is so old that he cannot remember events of the past. He is too old to remember events of the past. Right? Next is, as soon as the bell rings, the children run out of, uh, there is something wrong here. Let it be run out of class. Okay. As soon as the bell rings, the children run out of class. Now, in this topic, always remember, as soon as is changed either in no sooner than or hardly when. Hardly when. So for this, I always tell you, like no sooner के लिए आप ये NDTV का formula याद कर लो, which will be, it will be convenient. Like N is for no sooner, D is for do, does, did. It depends on the tense of the sentence, original sentence. T means then, that then has to be there, and V is for the verb according to this do, does, did. Like as soon as the bell rings, as you can see here, the sentence is, it is having first form of verb. It means that it is present tense. So with the bell, we will be using no sooner does. No sooner does the bell ring, then comma is replaced by then, and after that the sentence is same. Then the children run out of class. Now, for example, if here it had been like as soon as the bell rang, which is past form. Okay, so you would have used here did. No sooner did the bell ring. With did we always use first form of verb only. ठीक है, तो हमारा did आता है यहाँ पर. तो हम verb के accordingly, अगर sentence present tense में है तो हम do does का use करेंगे. Do does का use किस बात पे depend करता है? Subject के ऊपर. Bell is singular subject, that is why we are using does. Okay, it is a very common thing. Now look at the next. No other planet is as big as Jupiter. It is interchange of degree of adjective. As big as Jupiter, positive degree has been used here. Now you have to begin with Jupiter, and it can be done in two ways. Okay, either you change it into either you change it into comparative. Comparative can be like Jupiter is bigger than any other planet. Or you can also change it into a superlative degree, like Jupiter is the biggest planet. Okay. Now, in degrees of comparison, there is one more type of sentence that we get. Like if it had been here, Jupiter is one of the biggest planets. One of the biggest planets. See the difference. जब हम कहते हैं Jupiter is the biggest planet, यानी कि Jupiter सबसे बड़ा planet है. So when we are changing it to comparative, no other planet is as big as Jupiter. कोई भी planet इतना बड़ा नहीं है जितना Jupiter. या फिर Jupiter is bigger than any other planet, मतलब कि Jupiter किसी भी और planet से बड़ा है. ठीक है. But if you are given Jupiter is one of the biggest planets, it means that It's not that Jupiter is the biggest planet. There are other planets also which are bigger. So for that, we never begin it with no other planet. We will always say very few planets are as big as Jupiter, or Jupiter is bigger than many other planets, right? It can be done that way. Now, look at the next one. He is forgetful as well as careless with his work. Now, please understand, this is again a very common transformation which is used, and that is with besides. Besides being forgetful, besides being forgetful, comma, he is careless in his work. Now, very common mistake which children do, besides being forgetful, he is careless also in his work. They put also, and there the sentence becomes wrong, because besides, means in addition to, in addition to being forgetful, forgetful होने के साथ साथ वो काम में केयरलेस है. फिर हम ये नहीं कहते हैं forgetful होने के साथ साथ वो काम में केयरलेस भी है. Do you understand? So also is never used when we are using besides. All right, so please understand that we never use also or as well. Children make this common mistake. Now look at the next sentence. It is probable that, again there is something wrong with this, and he will, let it be he. It is probable that he will reach the shore. Hmm? So it is very simple. It becomes confusing, but it is going to be like, in all probability, comma, he will reach the shore. Now, let me tell you one more thing regarding this only. Sometimes you get, it is possible that he reach the shore, or he will reach the shore. It is possible. So then you will write, in all possibility. In all possibility, he will reach the shore. Next, she said that she would return the book to the library the next day. It has to be the next day, and then there is no comma here, but in the sentence that you are supposed to transform it into, they have given she said, comma. So it means you are given the sentence in indirect speech and you have to change it into direct speech. So it will become, she said, comma, begin double inverted comma, quotation marks, I will return the book to the library tomorrow, right? The next day will be tomorrow. Only trained graduates need to apply for the post. None but trained graduates, none but trained graduates need to apply for the post, right? His attitude towards his parents has always puzzled me. Here it has to be me. His attitude towards his parents has always puzzled me. Now see, me is there in the object, and the sentence which you have to make is beginning with I. So in a way, it is passive voice which has to be changed into, no, it is an active voice which has to be changed into passive voice. Like, I have always been puzzled. I have always been puzzled by his attitude towards his parents. I have always been puzzled by his attitude towards his parents. Right? Now look at the next. He loved his little daughter, but he was in mortal fear of her fierce temper. Okay. So he, although, now this, although the spelling is wrong, it has to be like this. Although he loved, wait. Although He was in mortal fear of her fierce temper, comma, he loved his daughter. Okay. Although he was in mortal fear of his daughter's fierce temper, comma, he loved her, or he loved his little daughter. You can do it both ways, right? When she heard the news of her daughter's result, she was very happy. Here it has to be was. She was very happy on hearing the news of her daughter's result. On hearing the news of her daughter's result, comma, she was very happy. Right? Now look at the next. The heavy showers of rain revived the plants. Again, the plants is the object, and the sentence that you have to transform is beginning with the plants. Again, it means it is active and passive, because in that subject becomes the object and object becomes the subject. So the plants were revived, as it is in past tense. The plants were revived by the heavy showers of rain. By the heavy showers of rain. Right? Next. Ashita is the most beautiful girl in the class. Now you see, children, these are the sentences from previous year's papers. You can see the same kind of sentence was there. Like degree of adjective, you can say, is a very common transformation. Okay. Next is as soon as. This is also a very common transformation. One from direct indirect speech, active passive. You get at least one sentence from these topics. These are very common types of transformation. So please practice these topics. Ashita is the most beautiful girl in class. You have to begin with no. No other girl in class is as beautiful as Ashita. Right? As soon as she reached home, she learnt that she had to leave for London. Now, again, see, here the sentence has to begin with hardly. For hardly, I always give this formula HHW. Huh? You use it for holiday homework. I say H is for hardly, had, and then W is for when. These three things are used when we begin the sentence with hardly. So, hardly had she reached home when she learned that she had to leave for London. She had to leave for London. Right? If the same sentence had to be changed with into no sooner, so how will it be? No sooner did she reach home than she learnt that she had to leave for London. Okay? Look at the next. Ramesh said, Rajiv, please bring your books to school. Please bring your physics book to school tomorrow. Okay, direct speech, it has to be changed into indirect. Ramesh told Rajiv, or so not told, actually requested. See, it's an imperative here because it is beginning with please, huh? Ramesh requested Rajiv, requested Rajiv to bring his physics book to school the next day or the following day, right? Next, some of the cakes had been eaten. It's eaten here. Some of the cakes had been eaten by the boys before the party began. You can see it is a passive form of sentence. You have to change it into active. The boys had eaten some of the cakes before the party, before the party began. Right? Look at the next. If you are not ready, it's ready here. If you are not ready to come with me, I will not go. Unless you are ready to come with me, I will not go. Now, always remember, unless means if not. Unless is a negative word and it means if not. So here it was given if you are not ready to come with me. Unless you are ready to come with me. You will not put not here. Okay, because unless means if not. I hope it is clear. Okay. Next is, it is such a wonderful opportunity that we must not miss it. It is too wonderful an opportunity. It is too wonderful an opportunity for us to miss it. For us to miss it. Now, why for us here? Because see, here in this subordinate clause, after that we had another subject we. Here the subject is it is, and here it was we. So for we, will have to make it for us. It will come as an object. Now look at the next. We did not know that Mr. Francis was retiring and leaving for Ooty. Little did we know, little did we know that Mr. Francis was retiring and leaving for Ooty. Right? Now, please understand the sentences which begin with little, neither, not only, no sooner, hardly, rarely. These are called negative sentences. Little did we know means we hardly knew. हमें पता ही नहीं था. Little bit did we know, it is a negative sentence. It means हमें पता ही नहीं था that he whatever the sentence is. So in such sentences we always use helping verb before the subject. Okay. Next, he know the culprit but refused to he knew the culprit but refused to admit it. Although he knew the culprit, comma, he refused to admit it. It is a simple sentence. Next, I'm afraid you cannot get admission to the college without clearing the admission test. I'm afraid you cannot be admitted to the college. Now, only a change in the part of speech has to be made over here, because you cannot get admission. You are given get admission, and here it has to be cannot be. Here it is given cannot be. So, I'm afraid you cannot be admitted to the college without clearing the admission test. Right? Next, if Rita had finished her work earlier, she would have gone to the market. Now, it is a conditional sentence. If Rita had finished her work earlier, and for the transformation, you have to begin it with Rita. So, please understand there are sometimes the transformation, and especially in these transformations only, which are, which we call impossible, if Rita had finished her work. So, we can omit if. It is not going to make difference. Like it'll be like, had Rita finished her work earlier, had Rita finished her work earlier, comma, she would have gone to the market. Had Rita finished her work earlier, she would have gone to the market. What is the difference? The only difference is that we have omitted if. And if we omit if, then had comes before the subject. Okay? Like for example, if I were a bird, I would fly. Were I a bird, I would fly. So in conditional sentences, sometimes we can omit if like this. Don't get confused about it. The differences, then we begin with that auxiliary verb only. Clear? Next, he always obeys his teachers. Now, as you can see, his answer is already given. His teachers are always obeyed by him. Now, this must have come as an example, actually. I've included examples also here. So, his teachers are always obeyed by him. Active changed into passive. Next, not only did he buy a desktop, but also a laptop. Huh? Besides buying a desktop, comma, he bought a laptop. Now, no need of also or to or as well here. Okay. Besides buying a desktop, he bought a laptop. Right? The heavy showers of rain revived the plants. Now, please see, the same sentence was there earlier also. It means the sentence has been repeated. So, sentences are repeated. That is why I always advise you to do previous year's papers. Okay. So, again, the plants were revived by the heavy showers of rain. I am not writing it as it is repeated. Next, the men were forced to work although the light was poor. In spite of the light being poor, comma, the men were forced to work. Okay, in spite of the light being poor. Or some children may write it as in spite of poor light. That can also be fine, right? No sooner did we see. Now again, see, they have given it in a revert form. Here you are given in no sooner and you have to change it into as soon as. No sooner did we see a flash of light in the sky than explosion. Something should be here near us. So as soon as we saw a flash of light in the sky, comma, explosion occurred. Make it occurred here. Explosion occurred near us, right? Okay, next. As she has not brought a pen, she is writing with a pencil. Not having brought a pen, comma, she is writing with a pencil. Right? Mumbai is the most vibrant. Again, degree of comparison. Superlative is given. You have to begin with no, means you have to change it into positive. No other city in India is as vibrant as Mumbai. Right? Next, their dog is too friendly to be an effective guard dog. Their dog is, you have to begin with, their dog is so. Their dog is so friendly that it cannot be an effective guard dog. Right? Next. Sarneer said, the spelling is wrong here. Sarneer said, Ramesh, can you help me with your homework? Said, then there must be comma. Ramesh, can you help me with my homework? Okay, so it is direct speech. We'll change it into indirect. It must be Sameer, I believe. Sameer asked Ramesh, sorry. First, we have to see what kind of sentence is there inside the inverted commas, means in the direct speech. It is a question. Can you help me? And what kind of question? It is a question which can be answered in yes or no, because it is beginning with helping verb, right? So, how are we going to change it? Sameer asked Ramesh if he could help him with his homework, and full stop. A question in the direct speech becomes a statement in the indirect speech. So you are not supposed to put a question mark here. You have to put a full stop here, right? Again, all nooks and corner were checked. Again, the sentence is repeating. No nook or corner was left unchecked, right? I'm not writing it because it is repeated. Next, how long I shall stay is doubtful. How long I shall stay is doubtful. The length of my stay is doubtful, or the duration of my stay is doubtful, right? But when it is given long, so length is more appropriate here. No sooner had the match finished than it began to rain. Now, here, see, from no sooner they have asked to change it into hardly. So, hardly had the match finished when it began to rain. When it began to rain. Now, if the same sentence had to be written with as soon as the match had finished, comma, it began to rain. Right? If he does not run fast, he will lose the race unless he runs fast. Now, here you have to take care of verb. Unless he runs fast, he will lose the race. Right? Because if not is replaced by unless here. Nobody knew much about his plans for the future. Little did anybody know. Little did anybody know about his plans for the future. Right? On seeing the rat, she shrieked. As soon as she saw the rat, we come to know about the tense from this shrieked here. As soon as she saw the rat, comma, she shrieked. Right? You must never tell a lie. Under no circumstances should you tell a lie. Under no circumstances should you tell a lie. The boss said, "What an extraordinary success." The boss exclaimed with joy that it was an extraordinary success. Right? It is too cold for me to step out without a shawl. It is so cold that I cannot step out without a shawl. Next, I play both tennis and squash. Not only do I play tennis, but also squash. Please understand, not only, but also. Because the sentence is beginning with negative, not only. So we'll use auxiliary verb before the subject. Not only do I play. Why do I? Because the sentence is in simple present. Okay, so with I we use do. Not only do I play tennis, but also squash. The school team lost the cricket match, although the captain scored a century. Despite the fact that the captain scored a century, comma, the school team lost the cricket match. The school team lost the cricket match. Now here I would like to tell you that despite means in spite of. Okay, we use of with in spite, not with despite. Despite is used alone. We do not use of with it. We use of with in spite. In spite of means despite, right? Charles Dickens is the most interesting writer. Again, degree of adjective. Superlative is given. No other writer is as interesting as Charles Dickens, right? They had to shut down the computers before leaving the office. The computers had to be shut down. The computers had to be shut down before, sorry, had to be shut down by them before leaving the office. Sachin is an outstanding sportsman and a good artist. Again, besides. So you can see this transformation with besides is also a very common one, right? Besides being an outstanding sportsman, besides being an outstanding sportsman, comma, Sachin is a good artist, right? Mother said to Paul, a courier came for you yesterday. Mother told Paul that a courier had come. Now, why had come? Because the original sentence, like in direct speech, it is simple present. So, sorry, simple past. Second form of verb is there. Simple past. And simple past is always changed into past perfect. So, a courier had come for him the previous day or the day before. Right? Next. As soon as the minister took the oath, we have to see, it is second form of verb, simple past. The spectators started applauding. No sooner, again, NDTV, huh? No sooner did the minister take the oath than the spectators started applauding. Now, here I would like to tell you one more thing. In past tense, whenever you are given past tense with as soon as, in place of did, you can use had also. Okay, if you want, you could also make it no sooner had the minister taken the oath. But then you will have to take care with has, have, had. We always use third form of verb. Okay. No sooner had the minister taken the oath than the spectators started applauding. You could have done it like this also. Right? He is so short that he cannot be a soldier. Again, please see to and so that. It is a repeated transformation. He is too short to be a soldier. Right? The lawyer the lawyer examined the documents with utmost care. The documents were examined with utmost care by the lawyer. Okay. I will buy the horse if it is quite sound. Unless the horse is quite sound, comma, I will not buy it. I will not buy it. Here we had to use not, because here unless means if not. If the horse is not quite sound, it means that. Okay, unless the horse is quite sound, I will not buy it. Only Shakespeare could write such a tragedy. No one but Shakespeare, or it could also be no one other than Shakespeare, no one except except, no one except Shakespeare could write such a tragedy. Okay, next, Rita is a journalist and writer. Not only is Rita a journalist, but also a writer. Not only is Rita a journalist, okay? So, helping verb has to come before the subject because it is beginning with a negative word. Now, the next is, although Lakshmi worked very hard, she failed in the examination. Notwithstanding Lakshmi's hard work, comma, she failed in the examination. Now, see, children are often confused with this word notwithstanding. Notwithstanding also means in spite of. इसको आप ऐसे याद रखिए. Notwithstanding also means in spite of. इसके बावजूद. Right? In spite of is like के बावजूद. Huh? Although Lakshmi worked very hard. हालांकि लक्ष्मी ने मेहनत की, बहुत मेहनत की, शी फेल्ड इन द एग्जामिनेशन, लेकिन एग्जाम में फेल हो गई. नॉट विथ स्टैंडिंग लक्ष्मी इज हार्ड वर्क, लक्ष्मी की मेहनत के बावजूद वो एग्जाम में फेल हो गई. राइट? नो वन वुड डिनाई दैट ही वॉज टोटली फिट बिफोर हिज डेथ. Everyone would admit. Why? Because it is a negative sentence, we are changing it into affirmative. And so the opposite of deny is admit. No, everyone would admit that he was totally fit before his death. Okay. Next, if you want to earn well, you must work hard. To earn well, comma, you must work hard. Right? So these are the 55 sentences which I took from previous year's papers from 2015 to 2019. And here, after doing all these sentences, you may see yourself that there are some common transformations which you must be aware of, which you must practice. Number one, interchange between so that and to. Number two, changing one kind of sentence into another kind, that is affirmative to negative, negative to affirmative, exclamatory to assertive, question to assertive, right? Then third is sometimes you may have to change the part of speech also. Okay, so changing one part of speech into another, that is another kind of sentences that you get. Then the most important, changing degrees of adjectives among positive, comparative and superlative, that is a very common this thing. Then conditional sentences like if and unless. Okay, these conditions, when you change between if and unless, that is another type of important sentences that you get. And then not only but also and besides, as soon as, no sooner than, or hardly when. Okay, so these are very common sentences and you will definitely get them. Direct into indirect. So please revise the rules of direct and indirect speech once. Revise the rules of active and passive once. And I think these types of sentences, if you do, they'll be more than sufficient for you for your exam. All right, all the very best. I hope you will be able to score 5 on 5 with this.